Yo, what's going on everybody? It's FreakyDude99 and welcome back to Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League and my first build for this game. Now, I've been having so much fun. I posted my entire campaign playthrough and I've grinded out all the characters to max level and progressed quite a bit through the endgame. I'm not quite at the highest mastery levels yet, but I assure you that this build has been carrying me through since pretty much Mastery 1. I've had extreme success with this build, and you pretty much blow up everything. You throw infinite grenades, you spawn grenades pretty much everywhere on the battlefield with ease, and it plays perfectly into Boomerang's playstyle. I've been having a lot of fun just grinding the mastery levels from 1 to I think I'm almost reaching 30 now, and I'm sure this build is going to take me all the way to the highest levels. So let's get into the loadout, starting out with our weapons. We have an SMG for Death Rattle, which is part of the infamy set Bane's Rage, and of course it is the tier 1 Bane infamy set. We also have Punch Through, which is another tier 1 Bane's Rage infamy set. We are using our tier 1 weapons here because we are looking to fill out specifically the infamy set Bane's Rage. If you've played this game, you know there is the Bane Infamy set Tier 1, Tier 2, and Tier 3, and each of them provide their different bonuses and provide different builds to play around. We specifically want the Bane's Rage Tier 1 because it causes each melee hit on an enemy has a 50% chance to craze it and a 50% chance to drop grenade ammo. The 2-piece bonus makes critical hits on crazed enemies have a 100% chance of spawning a rage zone. This can only happen once every 5 seconds. When you absorb the rage zone's power, it triggers Bane's Rage, which increases all damage dealt by 100% for 20 seconds. Really good. And then the 3-piece bonus is really what we're looking for. Bane's Rage now also increases grenade damage by 200%, and each enemy killed with a grenade while Bane's Rage is active refreshes Bane's Rage and adds a 33% chance of dropping grenade ammo. This 200% increase to grenade damage is wonderful as it stacks with pretty much all the other damage increases in the game, causing our grenades to do insane damage. This is a grenade boomerang build. So while the weapons are good, we tend not to use them as much for damage and more as setup for our grenade throwing. Especially the Death Rattle. We do use the SMG, but not as much. You can use it to use the successful critical reloads with this firearm. Grant a stack of frenzy. At 3 stacks, you unleash a wave of frenzy that crazes all enemies within 20 meters. This can only happen once every 45 seconds. This is good, and you can trigger this really quickly with the SMG, and you can also use the SMG for some range, but we're ideally going to be using our Punch Through pretty much all the time. It's a great shotgun to have. It has 22 mag size, so it just non-stop firing. You pretty much never have to reload with this gun, and it just sets up enemies so well to be shield harvested, because when they're shield harvestable, we go in with our Two-Face Persuader. Two-Face Persuader makes every melee hit on a crazed enemy have a 50% chance to drop either a live grenade or grenade ammo at the enemy's feet. Now the live grenade gets spit up into the air along with the enemy as you hit them with the melee. This can sometimes cause the live grenade to spawn inside the enemy. And since we're using a cluster grenade, it causes all the cluster grenades to spawn inside the enemy and pretty much delete the enemy in a moment's notice. There'll be some times where you're meleeing an enemy and then boom, a bunch of explosions will happen on one spot and they'll just be disappeared. Not only that, but because we're using Bane Infamy sets, we get the Villain Synergy. This makes harvesting enemies now have a 100% chance of dropping a grenade ammo and also increases grenade damage by 100% for 20 seconds. Again, the grenade damage increase stacks with everything else, causing our grenade damage to be insanely high, and then also having a 100% chance to drop grenade ammo is amazing because it means we never run out of grenades. We're constantly shield harvesting enemies, and then we're constantly getting grenades out of it. This also stacks along with Two-Face Persuader's regular move, so that means we can have a chance of getting 2 grenades on a single melee. This also stacks with the tier 1 Bane's Rage 1-piece bonus, which makes melee hits have a 50% chance of dropping grenade ammo. This means with a single melee on a shield harvestable enemy, you can spawn 3 grenades. Since we're making so many enemies shield harvestable, suddenly you have a sea of grenades that you can't throw enough to pick up all of them. You literally can't go through a combat without throwing grenades, and you can't even run out of all of them because there's just a sea of them on the ground with this build. So that is the melee, and then of course we are using Chokehold, which is a Bane's Rage tier 1 grenade. This one is a cluster grenade, and it causes 6 grenades to be spit out on the initial hit. We are using Venom Frenzy specifically with this grenade because we want to craze as many enemies as possible. Because we get so much grenade ammo as well, it means whenever we have a grenade, we can throw it as an affliction grenade. So we can always do a setup, afflict a bunch of enemies with craze, make them shield harvestable with punch through, shield harvest them to spawn more grenades, and then throw more grenades that aren't affliction grenades to deal damage. This causes a super smooth loop of basically throwing grenades constantly, shooting your shotgun and just staying in the air and floating above the enemies while you basically act as an aerial strike of your own. This grenade's also just really fun to use. Now moving over to our shield mod, we're using Unstoppable, which is part of the infamy set Bane's Fury, which is the tier 3 infamy set. Now we want at least 1 piece of the tier 3 because it gives you deal 4% more damage to an enemy for each 1% of their health that is missing. This is amazing, and just the 1 piece bonus alone is enough to take it, because when an enemy starts losing half their health, suddenly this stacks up with all your other damage increases, and every bit of damage, suddenly you are gaining more damage, and it just makes it that much easier to delete an enemy. So you can use this as your shield mod, but what you need to do is you need to have 3 tier 1s and 1 tier 3, and you can have this in any order you want to have. So if you want a tier 3 shotgun and then a tier 1 shield mod, SMG and grenade, you can do that. If you want a tier 3 grenade and then a tier 1 shotgun, shield and SMG, you can do that because everything still works together. You just need the actual piece bonuses active to get this build working. Moving over, we're going to go to our Traversal Mod, which is Hat Trick. Each enemy hit by Speedster's Surprise increases combo buildup by 100% for 15 seconds. This allows us to almost get our combo chain to 50 instantly. I've been in cases where in 1 second I've been at 0 combo, and the next 50 combo, no in-betweens. And that's because I hit a bunch of enemies. Even hitting 4 enemies with your traversal attack can increase your combo buildup rate enough that you throw a single affliction grenade and then a single normal grenade to blow them all up, and then boom, you're suddenly at 30 combo, 40 combo, 50 combo, and you're at max and you have all your bonuses. Hat Trick is amazing. Then for our neck bomb, we're using Hugo Strange's specialization. After afflicting 5 enemies with the same affliction, you are now immune to damage from enemies afflicted by that affliction for 20 seconds. This is really good because since we're using our affliction grenade Venom Frenzy, we're making enemies everywhere crazed because we can just constantly throw affliction grenades everywhere. We're making enemies crazed all the time, and then we also make enemies crazed whenever we're meleeing them. You don't need to use Venom Frenzy on your melee, by the way. You can use anything you want here to mix it up, but if you want to go all in for the Venom Frenzy, then go for it. So, when you're using this neck bomb, you gain immunity to all crazed enemies. This causes so much ease when dealing with tankier enemies, brute enemies, or just waves of enemies because they can't deal any damage to you. You're immune. You're free from damage. And not only that, it has a synergy where each time you craze an enemy, you gain 50% damage increase for 30 seconds up to a maximum of 250. A single affliction grenade can get you that max stack, and then another grenade, boom, it stacks with everything, you're nuking everything. Finally, for our lucky charm, we're taking Jinx's Unlucky Coin because we gain 750% increased damage to a specific affliction for 20 seconds that cycles through all of the afflictions in order. We also gain a flat 250% increased damage to afflicted enemies, which is active all the time, and actually, from what I know, it multiplies with this 750%. Now, what this also means is that every 60 seconds, we get 20 seconds where we are just getting so much increased damage on any enemies that's crazed. So any brute enemies, anything that is surrounding you, you make them crazed and then you throw another grenade and they are nuked. It is amazing what you can do with this build. Now that's gonna do it for the loadout. Quickly, we're gonna move over to the talent tree, starting with the pink tree shoot 'em up. Going over the things that we can actually make choices on, we're grabbing boomsticks, which increases shotgun damage by 10% and shield harvest chance by 10%. We specifically don't want to increase our melee cooldown because we want to make sure we're shield harvesting non-stop. Then, since we're only using our shotgun pretty much, we're grabbing shotgunner, so shield harvest chance is increased by 25% on shotgun hits at 10 times combo or higher. We're also grabbing cheap shot boomerang. Critical reloads increase the damage of your next firearm magazine by 15%. Since punch through has such a large magazine, it means we get this increased damage for so many rounds. Then close quarters, so shotgun kills have a 25% chance to spawn a live grenade while we're close. This is also amazing because this can stack up with our other things. The more grenades, the better. We're grabbing last resort, so critical hit damage is increased by 25% while our shield is overcharged. We're shield harvesting enemies non-stop, so we get this critical hit damage non-stop. We got bleeding edge, so successful counters at 30 combo or higher have a 100% chance to cause enemies to bleed for 150% of our equipped weapons critical hit damage. This of course stacks with our last resort, and since we're using a shotgun, we have a lot easier time countershotting people because we don't send out one single countershot bullet, we sent out a huge range of bullets. And then finally, Trickster transforms Jackpot into Trickster. This activates at 40 combo or higher and increases damage dealt by 100% and also increases damage taken by 25%. We can negate damage taken and take the increased damage dealt for our grenades. Moving over to boom and boomerangs, we take high tolerance for the shield pickup amount and the shield overcharge. We grab give and take for successful counters, generate 10% suicide strike and traversal attack resource. The more we get our traversal attack, the better, because that is what gives us our actual 50 times combo. So when we are slowly climbing up the ranks getting that, this is super nice to have. We take crowd control for the melee damage to increase by 20% while airborne. We're pretty much constantly airborne while we're boomerang, so this is really nice to have. Plus we're meleeing a lot of enemies. We grab defense mechanism, so shield pickup amount is increased by 40%. We grab after party, so every 5 additional combo increases shield overcharge by 10% up to a maximum of 80%. Again, the more shield charge the better, especially since we have last resort, so we want to make sure our shield charge can get as high as possible. And then finally, OK Boomer. This activates at 50 times combo or higher and increases grenade damage by 75% and Speedster Surprise Traversal attack damage by 50%. That grenade damage is really what's key here, so it's amazing to have, and we want to get to 50 times combo or higher instantly. We want to do that instantly, and that's why we're running Hat Trick. Finally, for Speedsterania, we're grabbing Flat Out, so critical hit damage is increased by 20% for 10 seconds after using the Speed Force Gauntlet. We're grabbing Bigger Surprises, so it increases the area of our traversal attack by 5 meters, so the more enemies we hit, the more enemies we actually get. So the more enemies we hit, we actually get more of our combo build up faster. We grab Quick and Dirty, so critical hit chance is increased by 10% for every 10 meters between you and your target. This is good for whenever we're using our SMG. And then we grab Speedster Sew Up, so at 20 times combo or higher, our Speed Force Dash increases traversal attack resource generation by 25% up to a maximum of 75%. there's never not a point where I'm not using Speed Force Dash, so getting our traversal attack constantly is really nice to have in case that 50 times combo ever breaks. And then finally, Speedster's Ultimate Surprise, which increases surprise traversal attack damage by 200% while Squad Ultimate is active. Again, really nice to have as we constantly get our traversal attack up, and then when our Squad Ultimate's up, we can just bounce around, get our 50 times combo, and grenade everything to bits. Now, of course, you can have this maxed out and you don't need to have anything into the squad talent tree, but if you do have, the squad skills unlocked, I do recommend going for the experience points earned. Just getting that 10% bonus is really nice. And then as you level up favor into shield and health, you want to be sure that you're surviving everything. We can deal enough damage to take down everything, but you need to be sure that you are not getting blown up or insta-killed or anything like that. So invest into your shield, invest into your health. And then from there, invest into shotgun ammo, and when you can, of course, build into grenade damage. Once you get to tier 45, build into grenade damage, because then, it's grenade damage. It stacks with all of our other grenade damage increases, causing it to multiply into the heavens. So, that is going to do it for this Boomerang nuke grenade build. This is a build I've been using and having so much fun with, and let me tell you, this game is just so much fun to play. I know a lot of people may be a little unsatisfied with the end game, but at least for me, I see it as a perfect getting used to the game, getting into the build crafting and end game, and we got more content coming in Season 1, we got more end game stuff coming then, so you know what? I'm excited to get some builds together, that way when the content comes, well, I got a bunch of stuff to try out. And hey, this build has been doing wonders in the high up mastery levels. I'm of course playing on invasion level 5, so I'm dealing with the hardest and the toughest enemies out there, and I'm climbing the mastery rank solo with ease. I'm bouncing between each of the 3 incursions, and I'm having no trouble slaying down enemies, slaying down the brutes, destroying waves of enemies with like 2 or 3 grenades that just cause massive explosions. I've reached the point where I've started breaking the game, and I've caused particles to just like so many particles on screen, I'm causing issues. So many particles and things happening on screen that my player model disappeared. That's an testament to how powerful this build is with how much stuff you cause to happen. So, thank you everybody so much for watching. I've been FreakyDude99. Make sure to like and subscribe if you haven't. Of course, I'm going to have more Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League builds coming at you. When Season 1 comes, we got Joker coming, so builds then. And then, of course, expect to see some more Destiny builds around the corner if you're into that. Well, thank you everybody, and we'll see you in the next video. Peace out.